Right? Okay. Good morning and welcome to Britain Today. Today we have a very special guest, VHierarchy, the leader of the Social Democrats. So welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
So may I call you V?
Yeah.
Because So V, you are now. So the Social Democrats are recently coming bumping back up in membership. Do you think that by the next election you can, rebuild the Social Democrats?
I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that we are on the road to recovery. I think we've established ourselves as a party that is growing and expanding from perhaps a more unfavourable history with poor leaders in succession. But I definitely feel for the next election we are contesting for that first or second place spot. Absolutely.
So, could you tell us a little bit about the Social Democrats for the newbies? For the newbies, we have to ask what
Well,
are the social?
I've only been in the party since September. I'm not particularly an OG of the party. I couldn't tell you much about its long history. I know it's derived from the Labour Party under Dean and Sid, but I believe we're truly trying to change this party into an educational party. That's what my leadership campaign with the party was about being a party that can foster new members of the community. That because it's a hard community to get into. It's competitive, and we really want the Social Democrats to be a party that educates the new generation and the new future of this community.
Right. So, I would like to talk about the current big story involving your party. That one of your MPs has decided to enact a bill which would call an early general election. I was just wondering what your thoughts on this bill was.
Uh, so yes, Terminal Plus today has motioned for a general election as a party. We back our members wholly. So
So so you support this bill. So you support an early.
we will be voting in favour of this bill yesterday.
Okay, okay. So can I ask what led to this, wave of support? Because it's only been 2 weeks since this term has started.
For the Social Democrats, I think for us, the support we've gathered is we've been grassroots campaigning on Westbridge every day, constantly. We've been
Yeah,
out there with
I have seen some
people.
social democrats on Westbridge recently.
We are out there every day. Unlike parties who only really go on Westbridge during campaign specific periods, we're out and about, we're active, we're interacting with the community uh, every day.
So, also let's talk about the other story tonight about Michael M. Rothschild. As you know, the Unionist Party has been seen to have divisions with the recent vote of no confidence in Michael M. Rothschild, and then having another one because Michael didn't like it. So, can I ask, what exactly is your view on this?
I think it speaks volume about the current state of the Unionist Party and particularly the coalition in its entirety, really. Um, Michael, I've very briefly spoken to. I cannot comment much about his personality and his person. But I don't believe he deserves to be no competence vote personally because he has brought the Unionists through hell at certain times. And to backstab him now, I think it's a bit scummy. But obviously, it only helps our party if he does get no competence voted. So we'll see how that goes.
So, over the past couple of days, we've been hearing some new parties that are trying to trying to be registered into the UK. So, my question is, do you think there's almost four parties that are actually trying to get registered? So, do you think they should be allowed to be registered and run in the next election?
For the next election, I don't think so. I think there's not really a platform to establish yourself quickly for the next election, especially if it happens today with the bill in Parliament. From what I've had like a Phoenix party that's being formed. I think after what we've seen with the Forward UK movement, it's nearly impossible to establish a new party without there being some dubious electoral commission scandals. So no, I don't think there'll be another party established before the next election. Even if it is in May, I don't believe there'll be a fully established party by then.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, the Social Democrats, now this is not my view, but some people on Westbridge have said, that they are, what's the word? Let me just get my notes here. That they are inactive. They don't respond to DMs, as former members have put it. So can we ask, if there was an election, if the vote happened today, and it is, and it was passed for an early election, would you promise that there would be activity in the Social Democrats if you were elected into government?
Absolutely, I think we've shown that in the past week with our membership base growing rapidly. We've been active on Twitter, we've been active on Discord, we've been interacting with our community constantly. You know, we've done everything to be active, and I don't see that stopping personally.
Okay, so as you know, the Social Democrats almost passed, two leaders, with that being Callum and Edward Litton. So you said you wanted to move past that. So are you today able to say that those leaders were wrong, that they were corrupt, that they did a lot of bad stuff to not only the country but also to your party? Are you ready to move on from those two lads?
I wouldn't say move on from them specifically you mentioned. I'd say move on more from the Martin Dean leaderships. As for Edward, listen, I do credit him hugely with my success in the party. Without Listen, I wouldn't be in the leadership role I'm in now because of the opportunities he gave me. Likewise with Callum, he gave me my first seat in Parliament. So I won't say we're moving on entirely from them, their era, but we're definitely evolving upon it and changing as a party.
So I think, yeah, we do have some questions from Westbridge players if you'd like to hear some of them.
Hmm.
So one of them asked, "Is the Social Democrats left wing?" Which of course is in the name, but we had to ask it.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, if there was an election and you had gained the most seats, which party would you likely be in coalition with? The Pirates, the Nationals, or whatever party that forms after this?
I don't believe that's where I can comment upon at this very specific
Yeah,
moment.
fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. And I think here's the third question. So, would you? Most parties have taken a anti-corruption stance in their manifestos. Would you put it in? Would you make corruption a part of your manifesto?
Yes, yes, we will be adding a corruption clause into our manifesto. I think it's very important after recent events. Corruption, uh, is an issue that needs to be tackled, I believe.
So, you said earlier that you felt that the country needed an election, that the unionists were fighting amongst themselves. So, can I ask, do you think a coalition of chaos has just been, is happening within the coalition as of right now? And, there was a deal for the, Social Democrats to back this government in, votes of no confidence and in, the budget. But now it seems that you guys have made a massive U-turn. So can I ask, what happened?
Yeah, so when we withdrew from the coalition, the plan was that we would supply confidence to the coalition, but that just didn't follow through in a way. It just sort of fell apart. So we decided that we're just going to go on, especially now becoming the official opposition. We see it as our duty to oppose this coalition government. Is
Mm.
just in the nature of the role. So that's what we've decided that we are going to do.
Yeah, so Ford UK's dissolution has been a big shock to most people, and all their seats will be reallocated. Do you think that the election would be, just filling up Ford's seats, or do you think that reallocation's a good thing?
I think there it's likely to be an election for forward seats, but I've always been an advocate for if we're doing an election 15 seats, we're going to put all this time into 15-seat election. It should
Yeah.
just be the entire parliamentary seats should be up for grabs. I don't think it should just be those 15 seats.
Mm. Okay. So we see some people are still concerned about voting for the Social Democrats, and I have some words here. They say that they're unreliable, that they can't be trusted, that they've been in three coalitions of chaos. Now, now you're saying that you want to move on from that. You want to, you know, would you say rebranding, kind of?
Yeah, not rebrand, but definitely just in general moving on,
Yeah,
sort
general moving on.
of
So
modernizing the party. Yeah.
would you promise to bring, stability the moment you're elected and promise not to cause internal chaos that would not only embarrass the server but also the entire country?
Absolutely. I find that I'm a leader that's not self-centered. If I was a minority partner in a coalition, I wouldn't back Dad to be prime minister, for example. I'm quite a fair individual. If we get second place and have to form a coalition, that's fair. That's good for our party, considering where we are now.
So, if there was one thing that was majorly wrong in this coalition government, what would you think would be the biggest problem within this government? Because, some people have been coming out saying, even you said that it's been a bad term for the government. So, can I ask, what's the biggest problem for the Unionist Power Coalition right now?
Well, I'm not currently in the coalition, so I cannot say the what's happening internally, but from the outside, it doesn't feel like a very united coalition. The Unionist Party, I said this in Parliament on Friday, they're infighting massively right now, and we've seen that with this no confidence vote. We saw it with Jack being sacked. So they're not particularly a united front right now. They're sort of falling apart.
So, I got some more questions here. So, one person asked if he worked hard in campaigning, would he be able to might be able to get a seat in Parliament?
Absolutely. If you look at our current parliamentary makeup, we have brand new people. We are hiring brand new people because, like I said, this is an educational party, an entrance way to politics, and that's why we are getting these new people in. We're giving them opportunities like seats in parliament, and we're going to continue to do that at the next election.
So, I think now that I think it's been a first great interview, but what we need to know is where do, are you able to comment about some of what you stand for in the Social Democrats? I mean, what if you were in government after this after the next election, what would be your first major act? Do you know, or have you not thought of it?
I think it's best to speak about policy, considering our petition manifesto is coming out very shortly. So I just urge everyone to look forward to that because we have some big things in that manifesto, which we can't wait to share with everyone.
Right. Seems like you're very confident about this.
I believe so.
So I think, some of your colleagues are now on the fence about supporting this bill. And I was just wondering if they were watching this interview right now, what would you say to them to try and convince them that this is the best course for the country?
Yeah, so my parliamentary caucus is fully on board with this, but to speak to my fellow opposition party, the Nationals, and potentially the Pirates and or Unionists, you're in a minority coalition government. It's unstable at best, especially with the reallocation of these 15 seats. If we're going to go into an election with these 15 seats, you're going to put so much time, effort, and potentially financial interest into uh, election that is it worth 15 seats? We need to be realistic here. We're putting the community to another election. Let's make this election worth it and give the community what they want, which is potentially a whole new government.
All right. Can I ask you just about leaders? Could you just say one nice thing about some of the leaders? Because what we've seen in the past couple of weeks and months is that it's been nonstop personal attacking of leaders. So do you have any good? Is there any good things about like Stuart, Boston, or Michael?
When I first got the leadership role after I won the race, I spoke to Michael, and one of the first things he spoke about was how politics has become so personal and
Yeah.
how we're forgetting that, first of all, we're Roblox politicians. That's something we need to remember. We're sitting behind computer screens on a Roblox game for Parliament. So I think that's just hugely important for every party member and leader to remember. I've spoken to Boston, very friendly, very happy to talk to. For Stuart, the same. I cannot doubt them at all with their communication. They're polite. They're not personally attacking anyone at the moment, or especially not myself. So I think they're all very friendly people, and I hope
Yeah.
to work with lots of them in the future.
Yeah. So what we saw in the last election was, a shocking rise in turnout. I think it was like 600, 700 people voted in the election. So, and since now Ford is gone, what would you say to people who, have seen now that the four-party system's returned? What would you say to get people out and voting for the Social Democrats? What
Oh,
would you say?
I think it's clear that lots of those members were potentially imported Ford voters. So I do believe there will be a drop um, in voters to the next election. But I think the four-party system, it's not that bad. It's worked in the past, and it's working. I think it's potentially nice to have another party, but it has to be a party that
Doesn't import voters.
It doesn't import voters. It is honest, and I don't
And isn't
think
corrupt. Isn't corrupt.
yes, isn't anything like 4UK was. Isn't too personal with what they do. Aren't too isolated, and I don't see that party coming around very soon. To be honest, like I said, I only know about that Phoenix party from the leaks.
And I think there's another one called the High Tories and the Albion Party.
Yes, I've heard of the Albion Party.
Yeah, and I think we can both say this. I mean, as a former MP, I think we can both say that it's good that people want to start their own party and
Yes.
benefit the server. I think that's just the more parties, the better, because it gets more and more fun. It makes it more exciting. It makes it more, I mean, four parties is a good thing, but
Yes.
more and more parties will just allow more people to get interested in politics, more voting, and more activity during elections.
To an extent, I would believe you, but it's just it has to be done the right way, and we haven't seen that. With Ford, it wasn't done the right way. With these new little parties coming about, I don't believe they're doing it in the right way. I hope to see a party that does it in the right way with significant backing by non-imported people. But I just don't see that in the near future, I'm afraid.
So let's go back to Michael Rothschild. So you are now supporting a bill against him. So
Yes.
some people are saying in Westbridge that you guys are intentionally trying to cause more division and chaos within Parliament. And, do you think that's... I'd like to hear your thoughts on it.
Sure. Well, we are, of course, the official opposition. We're sort of meant to cause a bit of chaos to the government. But that's not the purpose of this bill. Obviously, it's not my bill. It's Tamara Plaster's bill. He is the one who proposed it. Didn't have any of my input, to be honest, really. I only approved it. So you'd have to really go to him to get to know more about his reasons for doing it. But for me, I just see it as it's time. If like 40KC registrations really what kicked this off for me. It's like, okay, we just lost 15 seats in Parliament. What are we going to do? Obviously, we have to call an election because that's a significant chunk of the parliamentary cycle is gone.
Yeah, I honestly have to agree with this bill. Honestly, I do have to agree with it because 15 seats just being reallocated is just wrong. People should have a say on who gets those 15 seats.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simply the right thing to do. And when I was MP, I always worked with every party to try and make this country a better place. And, I hope to one day return to Parliament and to work with everyone. Heck, maybe you one day. Maybe want you one day. So we can make this country better.
Absolutely.
And not, yeah. Anyway, everyone, unfortunately, we have run out of time. VHierarchy, thank you for joining us, and hope to see you again soon.
Likewise.
And this has been Britain Today. Good day.
Thank you very much.